Hello everyone, Kristen here to give you a brief overview of performance management. This is a term that is regularly misused and misrepresented in the workplace. People might say performance management is yearly evaluations or appraisals. Wrong. They might say it's the system in place to ensure employees are doing their jobs effectively, like the famous demerit point systems. Also wrong. Human resources functions are not the same thing as actual performance management. So what is it exactly? Well, it's the management of performance. Love the obvious answers. But seriously, what does that mean to us really? If it is not a performance evaluation or appraisal, and it's not that useless demerit point system, what is it exactly? Well, it's a tool that we can use to ensure that we maximize the performance of every individual, keep them engaged and motivated in their jobs. Piece of cake, right? Actually, it kind of is. What makes performance management effective is the use of scientifically proven strategies to produce actual results. We apply the principles of behavioral analysis to the workplace, and we create positive changes in performance for both the individual and the organization. PM can be used in any industry, anywhere. Why? Because human behavior is predictable. We use it effectively, in this case, to help people reach their full potential in the workplace. One caveat, you have to do work. Leaders everywhere need to step up and manage performance if they want to see improvements. That does not mean give your employees some vague instructions and a deadline. It means getting to know your people and being able to reinforce the behaviors that you want to see that will help them improve in their performance. When we do this, employees are happier, organizations are better, and we create a really positive, enjoyable workplace. And that's kind of what we all want, right? The big question is, why aren't companies all doing this already? There's over 70 years worth of research to support these strategies. Well, it's easy. One, it takes work. But two, because we're easily led astray by people in positions of authority. Some so-called expert says that they developed a perfect strategy to make employees happy. They can teach it to you in a 1-week class. They make a fortune as the next latest trend, like life coaches, and then their ideas fizzle out because the results do not last and they're not scientifically supported. We believe them because they have credentials or degrees, sometimes a self-given title that just sounds cool, or because they claim that they have years of experience in the field. And now they're sharing with you what they've learned over time. Years at the same job does not always equal knowledge or performance ability. We all know someone like that. We're also led astray by other people. When companies hire outside trainers, people often respond positively and report liking it, thinking that it's helpful and having really good things to say, even if it was only mediocre, and in some cases, even when it's terrible. People say the same thing about professors, by the way. But when other people around us seem to think positively about an idea, we tend toward agreement. Our personal experiences also fool us. We use a lot of anecdotal evidence to confirm biases to support our opinions. Something like, oh, my friend went through this training and it really seemed to work for their company. It must be good. Or, I read all the positive customer reviews and they all sound great. But, those reviews are easily manufactured or cut out of context. We only look for information to support what we already think, which is largely based on authority figures and other people. Wake up. Science is here and it can help. Understanding performance management means that we have to understand behavior. When we achieve results in a company, it's because people did something. The something they did is what we want to focus on for performance management. We focus on the specific behaviors that we can measure and reinforce. We do that because results alone are not enough. What happens when the boss says, I need you to hit the sales goal this month, and I don't care how it's done, just get it done? That's when we leave room for all kinds of crazy, unethical behaviors. The boss turns the blind eye and the employee gets creative. Maybe they have friends come in at the end of the month and make purchases that they're just going to return within that return period. We hit the sales goal for this month, but we're going to lose it again in return losses next month. What we want to do with performance management is identify the right behaviors and positively reinforce them. We want to watch the individual and the organizational performance increase. We don't want to cut corners. We want to run an ethical business. To do that, we need transparency and we need the identification of the behaviors that lead to exactly the results we want. Just like in manufacturing and production, quality is equally important to quantity. We need both to be a successful business and to have successful employees. Performance management identifies the behaviors that lead to, in any industry, production of the results that we want. You want improved customer service? Figure out what behaviors that requires, such as thanking people after a sale or greeting people at the door. Maybe it's asking people if they need assistance while browsing. Whatever the result is, there is a behavior that causes it. And that's what we want to manage with performance management. And that leads us to the concept of behavior. People often say things that they think are behaviors, but they are not. Performance is not a behavior. It's a concept that relates to a lot of different behaviors. Is high performance for a banker the same thing as high performance for a teacher? No. So we cannot measure performance. We can only measure behaviors that give us an overall concept of performance. Another thing, an attitude is not a behavior. If someone says, you need to have a better attitude during meetings, that comes across as being scolded, which is a punishment. We're more likely to get this person revved up and angry. They might start acting sarcastic, overly doing the fake positive attitude the next time. Or they might just resent you for the talking to and become less receptive to you and avoid you in the future. We don't want to avoid our bosses. We want to impress our bosses. That's part of performance management. You will not improve this person's performance beyond the minimum required for the job if you create a punishment environment. We need to give people specific guidance on how to improve. Something like, hey, Kristen, when you walk out of meetings without saying anything, it makes it seem like you have a bad attitude. It's okay that you don't want to sit and chat afterward, but next time we have a meeting, I would like to see you say something before you leave, even if it's small. Maybe something like, everyone have a good day, or see you next time. Even a thanks everyone would work. People really like that, and it puts them at ease. See what we did there? I directed a specific behavior. Then we have to reinforce it, which we'll talk about later. When we direct a behavior, we can track improvements. An important concept here is that attitudes follow behaviors. When we directed that person to engage in the positive attitude behaviors, we're actually helping shape them into having a better attitude in general. Psychology rules. Okay, that wraps up the introduction to performance management and the basic concepts of it. Stay tuned next time for a deeper dive into implementing performance management in the workplace.